mean, you guys see the background, you probably already know where this video is going. I hate fake-out deaths. Most of the time because they're used in a way that makes me feel like there wasn't really a point to it. And then sometimes some stories and some writers use them so often that it just becomes kind of either blatantly obvious or just unbelievable when a character dies. And you know what? Persona does this at least a few times. This series, especially in the more recent games, really loves fake-out deaths. And you know what? I hope in the next entry we can sort of move on from that and stop using it as much as a plot device.
Did someone say my name?
This again?
I'm not a narrative writer, therefore everything I'm about to say is opinion and observation. From my own experience, deaths in stories, especially in anime stories, are some of the least believable schlop you'll ever see. The problem lies in building trust with your player or reader, and anime stories like to insert magical circumstances into a lot of events, especially into deaths, so that they're not permanent. You see it happen a lot, and for me, it feels like there's a fear to commit to killing off a character, even if it makes sense in the narrative for the character. And I've seen it happen so many times that a lot of times in anime games, I just don't find deaths to be believable anymore. It feels like they keep getting used for cheap fake-outs, and it kind of muddles how I feel about the usage of death more recently in Persona games. Oh, before I start here, spoiler warning for Persona 4 and 5. We're not talking about 3 because, yeah, there's a remake coming out, so I don't really want to touch on a lot of the stuff that happens in 3, because I don't know how they're going to handle it in the remake.
We have greater concerns right now. In fact, I'm a bit offended you think so little of me that you expected me to be dead.
The good fake-outs are pretty much limited to Joker and Akechi. At least the first time. Joker's fake-out is good, in my opinion, because there is so much weight to it on both ends. On one hand, if you mess up the interrogation, it means you actually died. Nice job selling out your friends, huh? On the other hand, if you succeed, the reward is the success of the Phantom Thieves' brilliant and kind of convoluted plan, and that you managed to thwart Akechi thanks to pancakes.
Realized it too then. It was our conversation about pancakes, right?
Then you have Akechi's death in Shido's palace. I think him coming back in the end of the Yaldabaoth arc is ultimately fine, purely because of how in the end, he's still not actually alive.
And that matters how exactly?
Pause. I'll explain that scene later. He comes back and his arc is purely about being allowed to live and die with the choice he made.
And I refuse to live like that. I'll be the one to choose my path. That's how I've lived up to now. And it's going to continue from here till the end.
You get the surprise of his return along with the development of his character that he only wants to live with the consequences of his actions. Since Akechi is kind of irredeemable and the game does make that known.
I have no intention of forgiving you for what you did to my father. But I sympathize with you.
These two, in my opinion, are the good fake-out deaths, because they aren't really used cheaply. They're thought out and used for tension when tension is needed. The deaths themselves feel pretty believable, even if they don't last.
For real though.
Nanako and Akechi Part 2 are the ones that I'm mixed on. I also have some mixed feelings about Teddy, but I don't know if you can count it as a fake-out death. Anyways, Nanako is a plot device death. It's kind of the same as Joker's, but at the same time it's not. Because the story could continue even if she did die. If you royally mess up, she's dead permanently. If you only kind of mess up, she's bedridden, and if you succeed, she lives a healthy life. I guess even though it's similar to Joker's, I feel like it just feels kinda wrong, because this is a very emotional moment, and then a few minutes later, depending on how long it takes you to get through that scene, it's undone. And the basis of her living is just, yeah, this happens sometimes. Which I don't actually know if it does or not, but it's not really a good explanation. As an example, if Teddy had sacrificed himself in order to save her or something like that, that could have been cool. I don't know, I just wish it had a better explanation than just, yeah, that happens. Completely normal. It's a miracle, but also completely normal. Anyways, with Akechi living at the end of Royal, I understand that his arc is not I just want to be dead, it's I want to live with the consequences of my actions. So him being alive at the end is fine, but damn does it lower the impact of his final decision because the game really tries to hammer home that he's dead.
For real.
Alright, Ryuji and Morgana, you guys get handed the short end of the stick a lot, and here, I'm sorry to say, it's not any different. Ryuji's fake out is so bland and generic. It's such a boring way to do a fake out. Not to mention the fact that they really try to ham it up. Then it gets turned into anime comedy. There are things I just kind of accept with JRPGs, mostly the anime comedy thing that I just genuinely don't really find that funny. Not really gonna go too much into that, but I don't find this scene funny. It doesn't bother me as much because I just kind of accept, oh, it's one of those anime comedy bits that they do because haha funny. I just think the fake out is cheap and it sours any desire I have to sit through this scene ever again, because it's not really a great scene to sit through. Morgana's, on the other hand, is coupled with this goodbye and good luck speech, and this cutscene of the erasure of mementos, and he zoops on it. He comes back later, basically kind of guessing that only the cognitive version of him is gone. Which, I guess? I mean, it's not really the worst fake out, but I really wish we'd stop giving these characters these big emotional goodbye moments, only for it to be shortly undone. I know in the OG Persona 5 it's technically 2 months, and I know that in Royal, part of it is the Marky thing happening, but I don't really feel like it works for me that much. It feels kind of pointless to have this goodbye scene.
I should get to the point.
I think that's a good question. It does seem to balance out, right? A few I'm okay with, a few that I like, and a few that are just bad. But I really wish they stopped doing these, because there are some I didn't even touch upon. If you know, you know. And you know what? If they intend to do this again, I really hope they can pull it off. Regardless, I'm tired of fake out deaths, and I hope that one day they can figure out that they can create stakes, emotional moments, and even comedy bits without needing this whole song and dance. But those are just my thoughts. So why don't you tell me how you feel about fake out deaths in Persona and in other media? Of course, spoiler tag where you should. You can do that all in the comments. You can also leave a like if you enjoyed the video, and subscribe to the channel for other things Persona, Atlas, and JRPG related. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.